So today I'm going to be cutting up this prime rib. It's on sale this week at a couple of different stores locally. So this particular one we picked up is 18.32 pounds, and it was $9.99 a pound for a prime rib, which is about $10, $11 cheaper per pound than it would be normally. Okay, so now I took it out of the wrapper and I've got it set up like this to, you know, keep the board from sliding around too much, but also to, it makes it a little easier. I've done this a few times and it makes it a little easier to get this done. So first of all, I'm going to cut underneath the ribs here. And, you know, this makes a nice rack of beef ribs that we'll use. But then, I mean, if you're gonna cook it as a roast, you can leave it on there. But since like I said, we're gonna cut it up into steaks. This one, the other one will probably cut up most of it into steaks, and then maybe one roast. But you know, these beef ribs, this like 7-bone rack, is perfect, you know, for my husband and I to eat, because there's quite a bit of meat in between these ribs here, and you know, we didn't know it for the longest time, and we'd end up, you know, throwing away the rack. You know, we cook a roast, and the head to bones, you know, they separate it, but you cook it with it sitting on top of there, and we never really thought anything about it. You know, we'd, you know, cut up the roast and we'd eat the prime rib steak, you know, from the roast. But you know, I threw away the rack that the roast was sitting on, and realized one time that you know, we're throwing away a nice chunk of meat. So anyway, so gotta have a good sharp knife. I've got a couple of knives here. I bought some knives, some new knives to start cutting up meat since we've gone carnivore, because you know, my old knife set here, you know, I got when we got married 40 years ago. So it's, even though, you know, I sharpen it and stuff, it's just, you know, I wanted to get something new, a little more something that stays sharp a little longer. So anyways, so let's get going here. I'm going to start finding, you know, I gotta find the bottom of the ribs here, and then just start going in underneath and work my way up. You know, I mean, you want to get some meat in there, but you don't want to, you know, cut too far in either. So just cutting along this fat line here is a good start. So now I will come up this way, up underneath of it. You know, just, and I don't know that this is the right way. This is just the way I do it. I mean, somebody that's a butcher or something might tell you to do it differently, but this is what works for us. So that, you know, I just thought I would share. If anybody's curious, you know, it's, you know, this is a sale that we love to keep our eye out for, is to have these prime rib roast go on sale. You know, at Thanksgiving and Christmas, it was a lot cheaper. It was like $6.99 a pound. So, but even at $8.99 a pound, it's still a good deal. Like I said, it's typically, you know, anywhere from $19 to $24 a pound for ribeyes, and this is prime rib. So, you know, it's an even better cut. So let me see. This one's actually going a little easier than the last one I did about a month or so ago. Like I said, at Christmas, you know, and you know, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, they had some good sales on them at our local Jewel. And this one is from Meyer. Gotta get underneath that bone up here. But I don't want to cut into the steak too far. Here we go. Now. Come on. There we go. Let's see. There's a nice bit of meat there. Now, in order to store this, because I'm not going to cook the ribs right away, I usually end up cutting it either right about here or right here, and that will fit in a gallon-size Ziploc baggie. Not real thrilled about storing it in in plastic, but I'm not going to set that on this paper towel. But I haven't gotten around to purchasing stuff for the freezer. Besides, the plastic, it's easier. I did buy these nice glass bowls, containers for the refrigerator. Could probably store them in the freezer, but yeah, I don't have a bunch of them. I just recently started switching over and getting rid of our plastic containers. So I got these on Amazon. I will link in my description below where I got these. This particular one that I bought, and then this one here. These are, two different sizes. So I will link that, so if you're interested in those. Okay, so I went and got the gallon size bag here. Go ahead and put these in, so they're out of the way. And then probably throw these either in the refrigerator to cook later this week, or throw them in the freezer for later. So, but right now, let's just get them out of the way. I really do prefer the bags that have the little zipper mechanism on them. I'll set those over here for now. Okay, so now to start cutting these into steaks. Now there's a couple of different ways I've done this that work for me. This was kind of off kilter here on the end here, so I'm just gonna square it off. So I like to stand it on end and then cut down to my cutting board here. Sometimes I chop this stuff up, the uneven stuff like this, chop it up for carnivore chili, or just stew meat, or just fry it up as a steak. You can do it either way. These end ones here will be a little smaller. I'm gonna cut it about 1 inch thick. I'll go get my scale and weigh one of these. Let's see what it is. Hold on. Change this. Zero it out. This one is a 14.7 ounce steak. That's a good size steak. So we will, I don't know how I'm gonna I'm going to stand them on end. This is the first time I've used this to store them in the refrigerator, so not sure if I'm going to stack them or on the flat or if I'm going to stack them on the side here. So here, let's just start slicing these babies. And that one's kind of thick. See, it's got a good amount of fat in it too. I think maybe laying them flat might end up being better. Let's see what we got. Yeah, I'm not sure. What I like to do with this fat here, because it's such a concentrated fat there, sometimes I'll trim that off and then slice it real thin and throw it in the pan when I'm frying the steak part up, and make basically like beef bacon or like cracklings or whatever. Make it nice and crispy, sprinkle a little salt on it. It's really good that way. Then you're not losing that fat too. Which, you know, I do the protein sparing modified fast, which is more protein than fat. I mean, unlike a lot of the carnivores and ketovores and stuff talk about, you know, making sure that you're getting, you know, like an 80-20 or 70-30 fat per day. But during the PSMF days, it's more protein, so it's lean meats. So, you know, on those days, I don't do the fats. I try to keep them down on that day. So I would pull those. I typically would just cut that you know, fat off and not eat it on those days. Maybe fry it up and give it to my husband. But if you're working on a high fat diet, if you're wanting to do more high fat, then this is great. This is great cooking it that way. So, just about done. This one went pretty fast. The last one I did, I struggled with it. I think the steaks were a little bigger and bigger chunks, less fat. So see, this end is kind of wonky too, so, but I will just keep cutting these straight down until I get there. I'm gonna have to use this other container. I'm just gonna finish slicing these up. We cut up our, we'll get the beef chuck rolls too, from like Costco, or Sam's Club, either one, if they've got them on sale. We'll get a full chuck roll and cut them up too. They're not as easy to cut up. There's a little more gristle and fat in those too. So yeah, see, this one's kind of got a fat end as well. Both ends were not squared off very well, but like I said, I could chop this up. My husband was talking about maybe making some carnivore chili. You know, it's cold. It is 17 degrees right now, which is high compared to what it was this morning. It was like 7 when I got up at like 4:30 this morning. So, but yeah. Anyways, and that's how I do this. Let me see, how many did we get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It'd be 15 steaks, or if I don't count the 2 that I'll probably end up cutting into chunks for carnivore chili. Yeah, we got 13 good steaks out of it. So. Okay, so yes, I am going to slice these 2 up into chunks, and We're gonna make some carnivore chili. I don't know if I'll make it today or tomorrow, but I mean, it's supposed to be getting cold. It's supposed to be cold for the next couple days, so I made carnivore egg drop soup yesterday, and that went over pretty good. Even my daughter and her boyfriend and the grandkids all had a bowl, so everybody likes soup when it's cold. I'm gonna dice this up a little bit. These will be nice, and these chunks of the fat will be nice and crispy. Like I said, it's almost like beef bacon. If you like your bacon crispy, this is perfect. I got this big chunk of fat there. I will probably chop that up and let the dogs have it. Or just throw it in the freezer. There's been a couple times I've taken a big chunk of fat like that and just thrown it in the freezer, and then later, if I need some grease, tallow, I could cook it up for that. A lot of work to making the tallow. I like to buy the Wagyu tallow from off of Amazon. There's a really good one out of Chicago. I can't think of the name of it. It's Chicago something, meat packing or something like that, but it is, it's really good. It does not have an off flavor, and it's nice and creamy and white and fluffy. It's really good. But, you know, like I said, I get that off of Amazon. I can put a link in the description for that as well, where you can find that at Amazon. You can see what kind it is that we use. It's in a black can with white lettering. It's really good. I make homemade carnivore bars, or pemmican bars, and I use that brand for that. I don't make that very often. Like I said, right now I'm on the PSMF 3 days a week, so I'm not doing the high fat. But on the daily, my macros are like 70-30, or 68-32, in that range. So I'm not doing high fat right now. Once I get down to my final goal weight, then I'll probably go back to, because I do good at 70-30. I've tried the 80-20, and it's a little rough on my stomach with no gallbladder and Crohn's no, I don't have active Crohn's right now, but I don't have a colon because of Crohn's surgery I had previously. So I'm gonna throw this in a bag. I'm gonna throw these in the refrigerator, and I'll probably end up cutting up the other roast here later. But I wanted to share this with you. Have a good day. See you later. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Then you can catch my next video.